Morning, everyone. Here's Chef Mark. Over the years, I've worn a lot of costumes and I've worn a lot of different outfits. As a chef, I have on my whites or my blacks, and as a martial arts instructor, I'd have on my karate gi. And when I do construction work, as you see me today, I have on my construction clothing. This all comes from a place of mise en place. And this is one of the concepts that I learned from cooking that is probably the most essential thing that you're ever going to learn in life. And it literally means everything in its place. Before you begin any project, before you start any endeavor, you need to make sure that you have everything in place. So when I start a construction job, as I'm building out my new restaurant, I need to make sure I have all my tools in place. I need to make sure I have all my material ready to go. And I also need to make sure that I have the ability to execute those things that I'm going to do. So if I don't have those skills, if I don't have those tools, I'm going to be hindered deeply. And it doesn't matter what we're doing, whether we're students, whether we're architects, we have to have the basic skills that allow us to achieve our goals. But we also need to have those tools, those functional, fundamental tools that allow us to execute the things that we're trying to do. As a chef, those are going to be my knives, those are going to be my pots and my pans. As a construction worker, those are going to be my saws, my drills, my hand tools. And all of these things are an expression of the creative nature. But to be truly creative, we have to have all of those things in place. As a young chef, I used to do all sorts of creative things because I didn't know the rules. And now I'm just as creative, except for now I know the rules, but now I break them all the time. Before I could break the rules, I had to learn what those rules were. And in learning the rules, you learn why they're there. Why do we do this a certain way? Because it creates this result. Once we understand the principles and the science and the psychology behind the things that we're doing, now we have a lot more things to offer. We have the world becomes our playground. And as an artistic person, and most chefs are, as are construction workers, you don't think of these as being creative outlets, but the reality is that's exactly what they are. We think of arts as being creative and construction being labor. But the reality is you're taking something from the inside of yourself and you're making it visible. My rabbi told me years ago that there's 3 things to a thing. Think a thing, say a thing, do a thing. 3 things to a thing. We first think of the idea, we conceive it. Then we speak it out loud. We put it down on paper. We do something to actually make it have sustenance. And then the third thing is we actually then execute it. There's 3 things to a thing. So when we realize that I can have the idea and I can speak the thought, but if I don't have the tools necessary to execute, I can never fulfill my destiny. I can never fulfill those desires that I have for my own life. And that's why it's so important to always remember this concept of mise en place. Everything in its place. Take the time when when you learn something, really learn it, internalize it, make it yours, own it. And when you own it, now you're going to have it forever. And it's going to be a part of you. At that point, you can then dismiss it. You can do whatever you want with it. But you first have to own it. A French proverb is, an imagination without an education is like a bird without feet. You can fly, but you can never land. You need to be able to execute the things. So take the time, and it doesn't mean going back to school. What it means is take the time to learn. I've learned in school, but I've learned far more by apprenticing and working with other chefs and working with other skilled laborers and technicians who help me get where I am today, to help me teach me by simply observing more often than not their process. And when you see someone else's process, you can emulate it because it's very hard to do something that you've never seen or experienced before. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's a lot harder. But now when you see someone else, you can steal a little bit of their ideas and incorporate it into yours. Hey guys, this is Chef Mark. Just a quick thought about mise en place. And no matter where you're going in your life, remember to always put those things in place that are necessary that will allow you to execute your dreams and your visions. Thanks, guys, and I'll talk to you.